Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about buying your dream car at the age of 20. This is not a video about how to get enough money to do it or how much you should spend, because I'm sure there's lots of people out there who will tell you lots of different ways to make money and buy cars, but at the end of the day you've got to do it your own way, so I'm not going to talk about that. Instead, I'm going to talk a little bit about the car and what it's like to own a car like this at the age of 20. My car is a 1995 BMW 840 Ci. It has a 4-litre V8 petrol engine, which approximately churns out 292 brake horsepower when new. I'm not really that bothered about the 0 to 60, I don't even know what it is. I just know that it goes like a bat out of hell and it glides on the motorway. So let's have a look inside. So inside we have a very German interior, which is great. I mean, the leather is comfortable. We've got a panoramic sunroof here. Old school BMW steering wheel with no distractions, just for focusing on driving, which is what a car like this is really for. So the reason I love cars like this is because they're so purely focused on just driving. If you just look at the instrument cluster here, there is nothing unnecessary on it. There's your fuel, your revs, your speed, and the temperature gauge. So what is it like living with a car like this at the age of 20? I mean, it's all well and good if you're getting on a little bit in life, you've got a garage, you've got a daily driver, and you're not too fussed, you just take this out for sort of high days and Fridays. But at the age of 20 years old, owning a car like this and driving on a daily basis comes with its challenges, but also its rewards. So I'll talk about the challenges first, and then I'll sort of move on to, why I love this car. Okay, so challenge number one, all of this. So I have nothing bad to say about the BMW engine. The V8 is fantastic. It runs smooth, it goes fast, there's nothing to complain about the engine. But with an old car like this, and with a big car like this, I've had issues with the cooling system primarily. So a big engine like this has got the cooling system of a small fucking town. As you can see, there's a new viscous fan and a radiator fitted. The day that this all sort of went, the viscous fan stopped working, I was in traffic, it started cooking up, I saw my temperature gauge head towards a red, and this snapped off, lots of steam, big explosion, my radiator broke, and worst of all, I was on a date and I had a really hot girl in the car. I just looked like a fucking mug. And of course, a 4-litre 1995 V8 really is not fuel efficient at all. So, this thing goes about 17 miles to the gallon if I'm lucky. In the city, it goes about 15 miles to the gallon, maybe even less if I'm driving like a twat. So some of the challenges of owning a car like this, first of all, it would be running costs. Fuel in the UK is not very cheap, and a car like this really burns its way through fuel. If I'm in sports mode, and I'm, getting up there on the rev counter, I will literally watch the fuel gauge move downwards. And at the age of 20, you kind of want to be spending your money on other stuff. You want to be saving it. You want to start investing. You want to start building for your future. And, when you're putting in £80, I don't know, like $100 of petrol in it a week, and it's lasting about 5 days, it starts to add up. It really starts to add up. Even if you're working, you don't want to be spending that money just going to burn and just getting around. One thing that you want to consider when buying a car like this at a young age is practicality. So if you have one friend, great, you can go lots of places with them. And if the rest of your friends happen to be stick-thin Swedish supermodels, you're also in luck. However, when it comes to sort of taking your friends out or driving places with more than one friend or family, then you start to see the pitfall. The next thing to consider when buying a car like this is appearance. Yeah, it looks fucking great. I love this car. This is one of my all-time favorite BMW designs. Way ahead of its time. It's got the sort of Italian sports car front, but that sort of hard, square, American muscle car kind of rear. So I absolutely love it. However, you've got to be wary. When you're young and you have a car like this, people will jump to conclusions about you. Whatever you may do, whoever you may be, people will assume things. This is sort of aimed more towards my ethnic friends like myself. People will assume things about you, without a doubt. When you need to go to job interviews or places where you need to sort of humble down and moderate yourself, a car like this really is not practical. Strangely enough, after 1 year of owning this car, I have not been stopped by the police at all. I have not been pulled over. I got pulled over more in my E46 318 than I have done in this car. Who knows why? The next thing to consider is sacrifice. What sacrifices are you willing to take? So for me, I don't necessarily like partying. I don't spend a load of money in the club. I don't really do stuff like that. My car is more important to me. I'm more willing to sort of spend that money that you would on a Friday, Saturday nights going out on sort of, saving up for a car or the running costs of a car like this. Reasons why I love this car. First of all, it's this sort of heavy set interior that you just don't seem to find in modern cars. There's this leather everywhere and this really sort of streamlined German design, which makes, the cockpit a really, really nice place to be. And when you're driving a long way, it absolutely eats up miles. You feel like almost as if you're in some sort of 90s fighter jet. I like to work on my cars myself, which is what makes this car fantastic compared to a modern car. With old BMWs, everything is quite easy to get to. And at the same time, because there's such a big fan base for classic BMWs, you're bound to find repair guys or manuals or people who have done it before online. There's one person who I'm incredibly grateful for. His name is Tim Meek. He owns a website called Meeknet, and he sort of talks through any repairs you could possibly do on an E31. He is, the patron saint of the E31. Tim Meek, if you watch this, thank you so much. I don't know who you are, but I love you. So should you buy a car like this at the age of 20? My answer will be no. You should not buy a car like this at the age of 20. Although it's great to drive a fast car, a car that looks good, a car that makes an impression, a car that, might do well with the ladies, there are more important things at this age. Age of 20, I would recommend to you to buy a cheap, easy to run car, regardless of the look. I know image is important to a lot of young people out there, but regardless of the look, buy a cheap, easy to maintain, easy to run, small engine size car. Use that, and the money that you could have saved every month on petrol or on insurance, invest it or save it for your own sake. My dream car is a Maserati Quattroporte S. That car is going to take me longer to purchase now, having bought this car at the age of 20, than if I was to have bought a Micra or a Punto or something small like that. At the same time, what I would say to you is, if you live for the moment and you want to make every day of your life something enjoyable and something different, then 100% go for a car like this. Do not be an idiot and buy yourself into debt by buying a brand new spanking car on a finance plan or on a lease plan, because that is stupid. That is really stupid fucking thing to do. You're going to fuck up your credit, you're going to buy yourself in debt, you're going to restrict yourself. Don't do that. I like old German cars just because I love them. It's also very inconvenient for me that they are normally priced quite low and I can buy them with cash. I have never bought a car on a finance or a PCP or a hire. Never. I think that's a very stupid thing to do. It lacks foresight. If you want to have a nice car, go for something slightly older. The price will be much lower. You won't be buying yourself into debt, and it will give you a great chance to learn how to repair things yourself. So to conclude this video, I would say to you, yes, if you want to have a great car at a young age, buy a car like this. Absolutely. And also no. If you want to save for your future, if you want to invest and possibly have an even better car later on, don't buy a car like this. Buy something cheap and cheerful, buy something reliable and stress-free. But at the end of the day, just look at it.